And do you know if a recording will be sent to people who signed up even if they don't show up?
Yes, I believe the recordings are going to be available on the StriveScan website. So, all right, I'm not sure how to know participants. So here we go. Participants are?
We have one attendee so far.
We have one attendee. Hello. Hang tight. I'm not sure how many attendees we're going to have. We're just going to wait for a minute or so to welcome anyone else who might be attending before we get started. And I didn't mean to share that, but I'm sharing that. So there you go. We're figuring it all out. I feel like I should have some music. It's the 21st day of September, just saying.
Oh, I gotta listen to that now after the webinar. My 1-year-old loves that song.
It's a great song. It's also my dad's birthday, so I called him to him happy birthday. So
happy birthday.
Yeah. 82.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then he's telling me about how he did 180 push-ups this morning. This guy. He's crazy. Lovely, but slightly crazy. We love him. How long do you need the full time? Do you want to wait for a couple minutes or do you want to go ahead and get started?
I know we have someone who's here, so I don't want them to have to wait too long. So maybe another 60 seconds and then we'll get started.
Okay. Well, that's what we'll do. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And thanks for your patience and for being early.
Yeah.
I'm an attendee here.
I know, right? We love it. Hopefully we'll get a few more students to pop on. But even if not, like as we said, these are recorded and they are available through the StriveScan. So students, I think, just have to register with StriveScan, and I think they can access everything. So it's pretty nice. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Wrong slide here. See, I already messed up. Look at this. Here we go. So thank you for joining us. We are going to get started here, and this is the session, right? It went 2 slides. There we go. I just want to give you a quick overview to our attendees, and as people arrive, you know, Brandy, you may want to refresh people in case we have more people arrive late. This webinar has the chat feature disabled. So for those who are attending, if you are familiar with Zoom at all, at the bottom of your screen, there's a feature called Q&A, and you can type your questions into the presenter at any time. Those are private. They are not shared with the group. So as potentially more students join, you don't have to worry about that information, your information being shared. Your camera, attendees, and microphone are off, so no one can hear you or see you. You are just here to listen and then ask questions through the Q&A if you have those. You can continue to sign up for more sessions through www.iacac.org. My name is Amy, and I am a volunteer with IACAC, and I'm happy that you're here. And the recordings I mentioned will be available through our website associated with StriveScan, as they are sponsoring all of our college information sessions. So with that said, I'm going to stop, and now I'm getting weird messages. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to let Brandy take over, and I'm going to mute.
Awesome, thank you so much, Amy. Can you all see my presentation? Hopefully, yes. So hi everyone, my name is Brandy Keeler. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions at the College for Creative Studies, which is an art and design school located in Detroit, Michigan. And at CCS, we help students with an interest in art and design really figure out how to get an education that will grow their passion and elevate their talent so that they can become world-class leaders in art and design. It's not just about getting a job, it's about doing what you love for a living and having a career where you can make an impact. And so I want to jump into our presentation showing you a few examples of folks who graduate from College for Creative Studies so that you can see what they're doing in their career. And because I have a lot of visuals in my presentation, we're art school, I'm actually going to shut off my camera for a little bit so you all can focus on the visuals, okay? So let's hop into some stories about a few of our graduates, starting with Tim Flattery, who's a transportation design graduate from our school. He has worked with leading film directors like Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton on over 40 films and almost 30 years in his career as a concept artist and designer. And he visualizes, he creates costumes, ideas for costumes, props, characters, environments, hardware, all for the live action industry. And I'm sure you've seen some of the films he's worked on, but I'm just going to name a few just to see. But he's worked on films like Men in Black 1 and 2, Hunger Games, Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, depending on how you say it, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Captain Marvel, the latest Star Trek film, and both Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And what's really awesome about Tim Flattery is he's also the department chair of entertainment arts at our school, meaning he's actively working on movies and bringing that industry knowledge into the classroom for the students attending CCS for entertainment arts. Another amazing alum is Chris Houghton. When he first left CCS, he went into the entertainment industry as a freelance cartoonist, animator, and storyboard director at Nickelodeon and Disney on series like Gravity Falls, Harvey Beaks, and Kirby Buckets. And now he's doing the exact same thing for his own animated kids series called Big City Green. And this airs on Disney XD. He created the show with his brother Shane and his wife Cassandra. His wife is also a CCS graduate from our illustration department. And it's really cool. He can point to the Disney Channel as someone younger than 35 and say, that's my cartoon. I created that. I'm not sure. We can't have raised hands or I can't see people's faces, but I wonder if we have a few Star Wars fans tuning in today. Crafts alum Wendy Froud began working as a sculptor and puppet maker for Jim Henson shortly after graduating from CCS in the 70s with her degree in craft and material studies. And she is responsible for the fabrication of Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. She is now a nationally acclaimed doll artist and puppet maker living in a castle in England, which is a pretty cool way to do what you love for a living. I'm actually going to share a video of some other alum of ours who are working on Star Wars properties. I don't know if anybody's watching The Mandalorian, but I think you may get a kick out of Matthew Dale and Andre Empson's career.
My favorite part of this job is, as corny as it sounds, it's making cool stuff. Designing creatures, you know, like, how cool is that? You know, I go to work and it doesn't feel like work. It's, you know, it's a career. It's like your dream job, you know?
I feel so blessed to be able to say that I live out here and I work out here doing something that I love and that I honestly feel like I shouldn't get paid to do. Visual effects company, we get the footage after everything has been shot and we're expected to add to the footage, and there's a very multi-step process involved in that.
A regular workday for me here at Pixamundo, as a CG generalist, it would be lighting, rendering, texturing, creating assets for whatever show that we're working on at the time.
After these multiple step processes, it finally reaches compositing, and I bring together all of the footage, the lighting, the CGI, the texturing, the camera movement, and just bring it all together into one, and we try to make it seem seamless. The end goal is to make the director happy and the clients happy, and we're willing to do anything to do that.
The coolest project that I've worked on for sure has to be The Mandalorian. Big Star Wars fan growing up. I know when I heard we got the gig, I was very, very excited about it.
I fell in love with Star Wars very early on, and the fact that I could say that I actually contributed to one of their projects is unbelievable. My number one thing that I love in this industry is the opportunity and the potential that one could have, and it's limitless. It literally is limitless. You can go travel all around the world, get paid a tremendous amount of money. There's just endless opportunity, and I'm ready to take it all on.
Having all my work finally, you know, in front of me and realizing that, you know, this is something I was a part of, it's very, very exciting. And just, you know, going back home and showing all my friends, you know, what I've worked on in the past few years, it feels pretty good.
I've worked very, very hard to get to this point at CCS, and the fact that just continuously pushing towards a certain goal, and it's a dream come true, honestly.
That's what we really aim to do is to make creative dreams come true from a career perspective for our graduates. So I'll show a few more examples and then talk a little bit about what CCS offers. During his 15-year career at Nike, Jason Mayden oversaw the design and execution of all conceptual products and innovations for the Jordan brand as the senior global design director. And this was a dream that he had since a kid. He loved collecting Jordans, he loved Michael Jordan shoes, and then he was the global design director. He led and contributed to the creation of sports performance products for icons like Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, Derek Jeter, and his icon, Michael Jordan. He then left to found his own company, Super Heroic, which is an award-winning footwear brand specifically designed for kids. That's something he started after becoming a parent himself. Although Jenny Risher went off to New York after graduating with her photography degree to shoot for brands like DKNY, Juicy Couture, Kate Spade, Victoria's Secret, Kenneth Cole, and more, she's since returned to Michigan to continue her success as a photographer. She's had published books of her celebrity portraits exhibited in local historic museums. Her series of hip-hop artist portraits called Deciphered was actually exhibited at the Detroit Institute of Arts, which is our major museum of art and design here in Michigan. And she is also a faculty member teaching our photography students. You'll find that many of our alum return to the school to contribute in a teaching faculty relationship because they know what it feels like to be successful in their careers, and they want to pass that legacy on to the students in the program. Last alum I'll show an example of is Molly Gillies. As a CCS and craft materials studies graduate, she's a clay modeler at the Ford Motor Company. And she recently graduated just in 2017, but has already been featured by Business Insider as one of the women leading the charge in the transportation industry because she helped design the new Ford Bronco. And this was actually a special assignment for her as her late grandfather was actually a clay sculptor at Ford who worked on the original Bronco in the 60s. And he passed away just as the new Bronco was coming out. So she's really leading her family's legacy in the Ford brand, but using her abilities to sculpt as a clay modeler in the transportation industry. So these are just a few of the many examples of what our amazing alumni are doing in their careers. And again, these people are leaders in the creative industry. And I want to share about what about CCS helps them to get these leadership types of positions. Starting with the fact that we've been teaching art and design for a very long time. There are a lot of things that set CCS apart. Our size, our setting, our facilities, the breadth of our majors, our sponsored studio projects, our connections to industry. But we've been doing this for a really long time, over 100 years. The school actually started in 1906 and has grown to become Detroit's only private, nonprofit, fully accredited art institution, offering a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in 11 majors, as well as a teacher art certification. So in addition to these amazing bachelor's degrees that we offer, we also have 20 minors and 9 emphases, including an entrepreneurial studies emphases. So for students who are multi-passionate, you want to study more than one area, there are ways of really making a unique program here at CCS through our majors and our minors. Now, I want you all to answer this in your head. I don't have polls turned on here in this Zoom, but I just want you to think about true or false. The visual arts employ more than the performing arts and sports industries combined. True or false? Some people may be surprised to know that the answer is true. There is a high demand for creativity. And it's a good thing too, because artists and designers are making up every facet of our visual culture in our world, right? There are nearly 700,000 art-centric businesses that employ millions of people. Artists and designers make up more than 2 million of those workers. And we're not talking about starving artists. These are people who are making a good living, right? The arts, which includes design, contributes to more than $760 billion of the US economy, right? Artists and designers design the clothes and shoes that we wear, the content that we watch and consume, both on TV, online, and on social media. They make the art that we see in the galleries, but they also operate the galleries and museums across this country and the world, right? They are making the packaging on every product we buy. They're influencing consumer goods and culture. Artists and designers touch everything that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. The vehicles that get us around, someone has to design those, right? And when you think about influencing culture in this way, you want to think about a school that will put you in the top ranks. And CCS is one of these types of institutions. We're actually named a top 3 design school in the United States by LinkedIn. And that's because our graduates are employed in the fields that they study here at CCS. We're also named the best value school by Pay Scale and Money Magazine, because our students are getting paid when they graduate from CCS, right? The average starting salary is anywhere from $51,000 to $81,000 for our students when they complete the program. We have a lot of accolades for our school. I won't go through all of those, but if you have questions about those at the end, I'll be happy to answer those. But what's really amazing about our school is that we have a vast alumni network. If they aren't starting their own successful businesses like Jason Mayden with Super Heroic in his shoes, they're starting their careers in companies they've always dreamed of working at, right? So we have an excellent internship and recruitment opportunities that help students step into their dream jobs. Here's a partial list, not even the full list, of some of the internship companies that our students have been able to work at, right? Converse, General Motors, Mattel, Organic, Nike, Target, Zenith, Whirlpool, and more, okay? And this is because we have a career department, career services department on campus that's committed to helping our students connect to these different types of organizations, whether that be through our paid only internship opportunities or our industry days, which are some of the videos you see here where companies actually come to our campus to recruit students, or things like sponsored studio projects where students are working on actual client and company work in the classroom setting while they're earning credit, and sometimes having their work actually put into the industry, right? So for example, doing a sponsored studio project with Nike and then having your shoe put into production and sold by Nike. That's a huge thing that you can have on your resume and portfolio that sets you apart, which is why our alumni are in demand and lead the ranks in a wide variety of creative industries. Now I'd like to talk quickly about the different programs that we offer for our bachelor's degrees at CCS. I'll take you quickly through each of the majors and show you some examples of what our students are currently working on, and just give you a high-level view of each of the majors, starting with advertising design. In advertising design, our students learn to develop interesting ideas and visual concepts for the advertising industry. Everything from print, radio, TV, and web to movies and developing apps. Some of them are working on experiences for engaging customers. Anything that really speaks on behalf of a brand, our students are learning to create. And they're mocking these things up for their classroom assignments and working in the same setting that typically you would work in at an advertising agency, meaning they're working in pairs of advertisers or art directors and copywriters who are working on the language for these different pieces. Our art practice major was recently called Fine Arts, but we realized we wanted to be inclusive with the language, and fine art is not as inclusive as the term art practice. Art practice gives credit to indigenous makers of art and people who aren't just in the fine art canon. But there's lots of room for experimentation in this program. Students are encouraged to explore painting, printmaking, sculpture, while also being able to take classes in things like bookmaking, performance-based art, installation art, and more. So in the bottom left, you see some examples of some installation art practice work. And on each of the slides, you'll see just a few of the different career opportunities available for each of these majors. I hope you check some of those out as I go along. Next is communications design. A lot of schools call this graphic design, but at CCS, our communications design program has 3 legs. There's graphic design, right? But we know that graphic designers in today's world aren't just designing logos and print material anymore. They're working on motion-based graphic work. They're working on interactive design, like user experience, web design, and app design. So we call it communications design because our students are doing all of those things. They're designing websites, they're understanding identity and brand design, designing logos, making motion graphics, and user experiences. Our craft and material studies program at CCS is a great fit for students who are tactile artists. They love working with their hands. And we have 5 areas of emphasis that a student can choose from and focus on. While students have ability to take classes in all the areas, they definitely focus on their fine craftsmanship using traditional tools and emerging digital technology for their specific area of emphasis. And I'll quickly go through each of those. So first is ceramics. For students who want to do wheel-thrown, casted, sculpted work and working with the glazing materials and techniques. We have a really comprehensive set of facilities on campus for craft and material studies specifically for ceramics. We have like 6 different kilns, some that some schools don't even have. Next is our fiber and textiles for students who want to either go into becoming fine fiber artists or working in the textile industry, working on furniture, color and material design, soft goods, and more. Furniture for students who want to have a marriage between that kind of fine art or art practice background and an industrial design background. Furniture is the great marriage of those 2 fields. glass for artists who want to use glass as their main medium, whether that's cold techniques or hot techniques like glass blowing. Metalsmithing and jewelry making, everything from large-scale metal sculptures to small metal jewelry. And those are the 5 areas within the craft and material studies. Next is our entertainment arts area, which has 4 areas of emphases. There's animation, which you see on the slide here, where students are working with traditional techniques like stop motion and 2D animation, as well as flash and digital animation and 3D modeling. We have concept design, like I mentioned earlier with Flattery. These are the designers who bring stories to life for live action movies and games, everything from props and scenery and costumes to characters and hardware. And this is a very unique major. There are only a few colleges in the world that educate and prepare students to become concept designers. And CCS is one of the only in the Midwest offering this very unique program. We have digital film for our live action storytellers who want to be behind the camera. They want to do things like directing, editing, script writing, storyboarding, producing. And so students learn all facets of film production for a variety of different types of film, whether that's narrative filmmaking, which you typically go and see in the movies, or documentary filmmaking, like you want to go see in film festivals, or even experimental film formats like music videos or art film. And you can see in the examples here, we have a slew of equipment that students can use to produce their work. So all the cameras and the lights, the lenses, the actual shooting spaces, stop motion stages, animation labs, virtual reality labs. We have all the things our students need to be able to produce industry level work because they're using industry level equipment. And it's free for all of our students to use regardless of major. And the last area of emphasis in entertainment arts is game design. And these are the students who want to work on the characters, concepts, and environments for the video game industry. And again, we're working with emerging technology. So we do have a virtual reality lab, augmented reality, where students can test their concepts in real time. But again, this is an art school. So it's not about the coding of the games as much as it is about the design, the imaging, and the concepts. Next, we have fashion accessories design. A lot of students know about fashion, but not everyone thinks about fashion accessories. It's a really unique career path. And it's a huge industry. In fact, it's a $51 billion industry. And students in our program learn to create one-of-a-kind fashion footwear that can be mass-produced, handbags, soft leather goods, belts, and accessories hardware. And our program is the first and only of its kind in the Midwest. It's the only program that allows students to work in these 4 specific areas. Other programs typically don't include footwear. We also have 3 minors in the program if students want to focus on this from another major. And the minors include handbag design, footwear design, and fashion business. There may be students who want to get into the fashion industry but don't want to have to make things. If you want to do merchandising or trend forecasting, you can learn that in the program at CCS as well. Our illustration program helps students to master traditional materials like drawing with watercolor, acrylic, oil, and painting, while also becoming masterful at incorporating digital tools and techniques into their work and process. And these student skill sets allow them to work in a wide variety of creative industries. Our interior design program is accredited by the Council of Interior Design, which is a highly important accreditation to look for students interested in the interior design program. And this is not to be confused with interior decorating. These students are designing all of facets of interior spaces. That's looking into researching consumer needs and how design affects people, whether that's light, sound, layout, right? And our students are learning to do interior design for a variety of types of interior spaces: commercial spaces, residential spaces, vehicle interiors, exhibits, and more. Our students are doing everything from floor planning to drawing elevations to learning to create 3D digital models like you see in this walkthrough here. And again, using industry standard software to do this work so that they are ready to hit the ground running once they graduate. And like many of our majors, our students, like I mentioned earlier, have sponsored studio projects. For example, with interior design, our students worked with Henry Ford Health Systems, reimagining their newly built cancer center. And Henry Ford Health Systems actually used the students' interior design projects to plan out some of that work and get additional funding for the build out of their cancer center. So these students, again, have real client work in their portfolio. Our photography program, we like to say, is a traditional program, which most of our majors are, where students are doing everything from traditional work like shooting with a film camera, working in our dark rooms on campus, to shooting digital photography with our digital cameras and learning how to edit in emerging software. So we teach everything from fashion and documentary photography to art practice or fine art photography and commercial studio work. And students learn both the technical and creative skills necessary to create specific images they envision. Now that's one thing that a lot of students are debating about, like, should I go to college for photography? I get lucky, I shoot some nice images. But the difference between a lucky photographer and a trained photographer is that these students can create specifically what they want to create, right? They're not using a camera and getting lucky. They know how to lay out the lights, their camera, what settings to put it on to get exactly the image they're going after. Okay. Our product design program is a department for students who are kind of teetering between engineering. They like the idea of being an inventor, but they also have a creative mind and love art. And our product design department allows students to creatively solve problems in a variety of industries using design. So they sketch their ideas, they make digital renderings and final physical scale models of these products so that they can pitch those ideas. And typical students are coming up with new designs to help improve the way that we live or improve an existing everyday object. That can be everything from medical devices like crutches and prosthetics, to toys, to athletic shoes, to tech, and more. All right, so if you are one of those people who you know you can change the world and you have some big ideas, product design may be a great industry to consider. And lastly is transportation design. This major is what we're really well known for. We are in the Motor City, being in Detroit, and this program teaches the design of all vehicles, not just cars. So students are learning to design motorcycles, mass transit, boats, tanks, planes, and more. You'll see on the side here, there's even spacecraft design. And they're learning, again, the technical skills to sketch those ideas, doing their 2D and 3D rendering on a computer, and also making physical 3D scale models. Again, most folks don't know this, but in the industry of transportation design, there is a career for clay modeling. If you like the idea of sculpting, but also love things that move, there's a unique path for you in transportation design. And we've placed more transportation designers in the industry than any other program out there. Our alumni network in the transportation industry is very strong. And one last thing I want to emphasize for this major is its interior and exterior of vehicles, right? So if someone's interested in interior design but also loves vehicles, there's an intersection for you in the transportation industry. So those are our bachelor's degrees, but say you are interested in influencing the future of art and design through its classrooms. Our art education certification program is set up so that students can complete this certification in order to teach kindergarten through 12th grade in the US or Canada, while also completing the major requirements for one of those bachelor's degrees that I just talked about. So you graduate with both a bachelor's degree and the certification to teach. It's 2 degrees or 2 career paths in one. And this is probably the reason why our graduates from this program have 100% career placement rate, right? The curriculum is set where they're doing 80% of their coursework in their studio classes. They're wonderful artists and designers, and the remaining 20% that's spread out through 4.5 to 5 years at CCS are their art educational requirements. So they're actually doing their student teaching and ready to work as an art teacher as soon as they cross the stage. All of our students do take foundations in their freshman year, but they are starting in their major freshman year. So it's not a foundation year. Our foundation classes are taken in tandem with classes in your major. And these classes help to strengthen your existing skills with drawing 1 or 2, 2D and 3D design, and digital fundamentals. So if you aren't familiar with Photoshop or how to build a website already, don't worry, we teach that freshman year. And because we are 4-year college students, do take liberal arts or general education classes at CCS, 42 credits to be exact. But these liberal arts classes are designed to support the projects that our art and design students are working on in their studio classes. So instead of a generic history class that you may not understand why you're taking, you're going to take the history of the art and design field that you're studying. You're going to take psychology classes related to perception or influencing an artist. These are things that are relevant to your career, which is why we offer those classes at CCS. And as I mentioned earlier, you do have the opportunity to study more than one area. So if you want to minor in entertainment arts while majoring in illustration, or minor in photography while majoring in advertising, you can do that at CCS. We also have some specific studio minors that you can take. And we have liberal arts concentrations as well. So if you're interested in writing the scripts for the stories that you're art directing, right? If you're interested in working on art therapy and using your art practice career path to also help people rehabilitate, you can study one of these areas of liberal arts concentrations or our entrepreneurial studies. If you want to work for yourself or be entrepreneurial within a company, you can pursue that path at CCS, okay? So lastly, I just want to show you where our students are doing all this work and talk a little bit about our admissions process, because I know we have a few minutes coming up here. So these are some examples of the facilities that our students are working in. One thing to note is that because we are a small private school, only about 1,400 students, this is a very intimate setting. It's about 10 students per faculty member in the classroom setting. And this is prior to social distancing. We are a very intimate setting, and we do have campus housing. So for our students coming in from Illinois who want to stay on campus, you don't have to worry about trying to find an apartment far away. We have actually 2 sites of campus housing, both apartment and loft style dormitories, which are apartment style dorms containing multiple private bathrooms, bedrooms, and even a kitchen, depending on which side of campus you live on. So you will be living in luxury while being 5 seconds away from your classes. So if a student is interested in applying to CCS for fall of 2021, there are a few things that we need to see. The first is filling out our free online application form. It's pretty simple to do. There's no essays or letters of recommendation required. We do look to see a transcript from your high school, or if you're a transfer student, we want to see your college transcript. And then we need to see a portfolio of 8 to 12 pieces of artwork. There are a variety of ways you can submit your artwork. One is uploading your work to ccs.slideroom.com. There is a $10 fee that's charged by SlideRoom, not by CCS. But you can also have your work reviewed through a virtual counseling appointment with an admissions counselor via email, text, Instagram. Any way that we can see 8 to 12 pieces of your work, we will review it and give you feedback, okay? And that's it for the admissions process. No tests scores are required unless you're an international student who wants to show your English proficiency. For students who are interested in applying for fall 2021, the early action deadline where you're considered for our highest merit-based scholarships is December 1st. From there, we have a priority deadline of February 1st, and we do rolling admissions until May 1st. We do ask that students also complete a FAFSA because we like giving out financial aid at CCS. 98% of our students receive some combination of scholarship, grants, or employment assistance to help them make CCS affordable. And this on average cuts the cost of tuition by 40%, right? So just by applying and submitting your FAFSA, you're automatically considered for merit-based scholarship and need-based aid, okay? And we do have some new scholarships available. We actually have some major specific scholarships, so you definitely will want to check out our financial aid offerings, okay? If you are a student interested in transfer credit, we do take AP, IB, and dual enrollment credit. I can answer more questions about those in the Q&A if anyone has those. And lastly, we do have an opportunity for you to take classes at CCS even before applying to come in college. If you are interested anywhere from freshman to senior year, coming during the summer and taking college level credits, earning 3 college credit while learning from our professors and building your portfolio, you can do that through our pre-college summer experience. This is a great way of not just building your portfolio, but trying on a major. A lot of students have a lot of areas that they're interested in creatively, and you can actually build some major specific work. For example, build a concept design body of work or transportation work for your portfolio. You can do all of that through our program. And even if you don't end up coming to CCS, you'll have an amazing experience, amazing friendships, and some amazing work for your portfolio. So I highly encourage checking that out. And we do have some scholarship competitions for that program as well. So I will just leave you all by saying, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that if you are interested in anything that I shared today, we would love to talk with you more, give you some more information about what CCS has to offer, okay? You can learn more about our school by coming to a virtual open house. We also do additional virtual presentations that give more in-depth for our majors. Throughout October and November, we have our faculty offering major insights presentations where you can meet with them and ask questions about the industry because, again, our faculty are working in the industry. And you can also do in-person and virtual tours. So we'd love to connect with you. answer your questions, review your work, and make sure that you know that it's worthwhile to pursue your creative path, okay? So with that being said, I would love to answer any questions that anyone has in the Q&A box. I want to see if there's any questions that popped up during today's presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in our Q&A box. And with the remaining time that we have, if there are no questions, I will play a quick video just giving you a little information about CCS from a student's perspective. Again, I didn't mention this earlier. I'm a graduate from the school, so I know firsthand what it's like to be a CCS student, but sometimes it's helpful to hear a student's perspective. So I'll share some of that really quickly to end our time today.
The one thing I love about CCS is meeting all these different creatives.
I love that at CCS you can be yourself.
It's like kind of a safe haven to do whatever you want.
Being surrounded by a community of great designers.
I've got friendships I'll have for a lifetime.
There's many things. If you make it at CCS, you should pretty much make it anywhere.
Yeah, like that last student said, that last student actually was Aston Davis, who's currently a brand manager. He's doing amazing things for the Inta footwear brand, which is China's leading footwear brand. He can make it anywhere. He's made as a footwear brand manager here at Puma in the US before starting his career in LA and doing work across the world. If you can make it at CCS, you can make it anywhere, and that's because we're dedicated to making sure students have what they need to succeed. And that is all that I have to share.
Thank you so much, Brandy. That was really fantastic. I certainly enjoyed it and I learned a lot myself as a school counselor. So you also just, shared that with me, and I'll share it with lots of my students. So that's great.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you can let me share screen really quick. I just want to give some last minute reminders to our participants. Let me do this really quick. Just a couple quick reminders. So again, the recording's available on the IACAC.org website, which probably is where you registered. And after you close this window, there is supposed to be a very quick 4-question survey that they would like participants to complete. And of course, like I said, sign up for more sessions, and the recording will be available also on the IACAC website. So thanks so much. Unless there are any last minute questions, then I think we are done. And I want to thank Brandy for that really great presentation. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you.
And thanks for everyone who's tuning in and watching the recording.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.